Hello everyone. Welcome to the fourth episode of the Last Thoughts of Two Busy Minds. This one is a special one. I'm gonna say in a minute why. As usual, I'm gonna first introduce my guest. My guest is Kamiab, who was in the last episode. Um, and Kamiab, do you want to say hello?
Hello.
Great. So there he was. So this one is different. First of all, as usual, as also say to tell Kamiab, this episode is going to be unedited as is usual for this show. So there is that. But this one is not going to be an ordinary one because we're not going to talk about like the ordinary way of these episodes is that I have a friend and we talk about life in general. But right now, if you listen to my last episode, life is not normal. Like there is nothing normal about life. Not because of the COVID or anything. It's because there is a huge movement going on in Iran. Some call it a revolution. I prefer the word movement because there is a negative connotation with revolution in my head because, well, the
What?
last one. Yeah, to be honest, it reminds me of the last one, the 1979 one.
Revolution is not a bad word. There are bad revolutions, there are good revolutions.
I agree.
It's
It's
neutral.
it's just my brain being weird. I feel weird calling it a revolution, so I usually call it a movement. I call it,
That's usually good. I think most revolutions are pretty good.
yeah, like the French had a bad one. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
but still, like even the French one, even the Iranian one, it wasn't like even the intentions and the general idea of it wasn't bad.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah, I'm with you. Like
mm,
if I was the same person I am back in 1979, I would have revolted against the Shah.
yeah, I am
Y-
pretty. I think we all would have done the
Yeah.
same. Even the people who say they wouldn't have had, I'm
Oh
pretty
yeah,
sure.
yeah, for sure. So, anyways, there is a huge movement going on in Iran. Started with the death of 22-year-old Mahsa Amini by the hands of the
Mm.
fucking morality police because she had quote unquote bad hijab.
By the way, where does the word morality police come from? Because I like before this incident, every time people wanted to translate the word, they would have used like the ministry or what's it called? The ministry and the council of
Oh, the
uh,
official
London.
translation is guidance patrol.
Yeah,
Like Wiki, yeah.
guidance, but yeah.
I think morality police is a better translation for it. I think it came from the fact that Saudi Arabia also has it.
Hmm.
I don't think they call it guidance patrol. I think they call it morality police, and it is a
Oh,
better word. I think it shows the intensity of it. Guidance patrol feels a little bit too sanitized.
yeah.
Like no,
But
no, they are.
still, I was curious where
Yeah,
it's
I
originating because before this, I don't remember people calling it morality police.
yeah, me neither, to be honest. Because as I said, the official translation is guidance patrol, but
Hmm.
I don't know who was the first one who used that word morality police, but I think it's a better word. I mean, John Oliver used it
Hmm.
when I
Maybe
don't know if
maybe
you,
that's why.
yeah. So yeah, even John Oliver talked about it in the latest episode of Last Week Tonight. So there
Hmm.
is a big,
Oh, did he?
yeah, yeah. He did a
Oh,
short segment on the protests in Iran. He
okay.
mainly
I thought he did
focused. Oh yeah,
because I
yeah.
was looking forward to him making a whole episode about it, but he didn't.
I don't think he's gonna make a whole episode at least right now. Most of his
Hmm.
like long sections are months in making, so it's gonna be
Ah,
a
yeah.
while till he
Right.
get there. But he did a shorter section, and I think he did a great job of explaining everything. He did focus mostly on an important part, which we will get to, which was the teenage girls
Mhm.
revolting against the draconian hijab laws.
Right.
So. the as is the situation in Iran and everything. We're gonna do a special episode. I asked we were gonna do it three-way. Let me just say that we needed to
Mm.
have another guest, but he was sick, and like I've pushed this episode as last minute as I could. I just need to make it happen. So
Mm-hmm.
I asked both Kamiab, the other guest, and myself to write five of the most frequent points we hear against the movement, against the
Mm.
protests, against the revolution. And I chose eight of them out of the 15. There were some overlaps, a lot of overlaps, which is good actually. And we're gonna discuss them and see if there is any merit to any of them for people not to support the protests. I think we're gonna find that no, but let's not spoil the surprise. Um, a couple of things before we go on. The internet
Mm.
situation in Iran is very shaky. I am in Iran, and so there might
Oh,
be. Oh,
I thought
yeah.
you were in Dubai.
Oh, no, no, I'm not. I came back. I was in Dubai when I recorded the last episode. I was in Dubai. I came back to Iran like last week.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? Didn't they confiscate your phone?
Um, my what?
Your phone.
Oh, no, they didn't. They
They
didn't.
didn't?
No,
Oh.
I'm afraid to leave right now because I think they will arrest me at the airport. But fuck 'em.
Huh.
Okay, so let's just jump right in, and just wanted to say that there might be technical issues coming up, and you and the audience should be wary of that. Hopefully, I can upload this episode because, like, God, it's
Yeah,
been, yeah, it's
hopefully.
the Iranian government loves to restrict access to internet whenever there is a unrest. Like, God, I hate that word.
That's true.
Yeah, because unrest usually says that there was a rest, and now it's not there.
Yeah.
There
I
never
mean,
was
the
a
internet
rest.
is not great regardless, and they even limit it further.
Yeah, exactly. So, the first question is, which is one that both you, me, and Amir said, is that if IR is short for Islamic Republic, the current regime of Iran, the one that we are protesting and trying to,
Soon to
well,
be the previous regime.
hopefully, yeah. But the question is, if Islamic Republic is overthrown, hopefully,
Hmm.
what is the alternative? What is gonna happen?
The ISIS is gonna take over, and it's gonna be real bad because
Yep,
right now it's really good. So,
exactly. So this point, I think, is very much from loyalists love it because it
mm,
sort of says that there is no alternative to IR. There,
mm.
I do believe, and this will kill me inside to admit it, there is a tiny bit of merit to it because there isn't a strong opposition inside of Iran.
I mean,
They killed
yeah.
most of them.
The thing is that I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing. Like
Oh no,
most of
I
the
don't.
mm,
I don't either. I
I
just
don't think. Yeah, I don't think the like it's complicated, right? And we can't really see the future.
that is
So
true.
it's like we don't really know until we try, and that's basically it. There are like oppositions outside of Iran. There are a bunch of groups. There are a bunch of people,
Yeah.
and
To be honest, I don't like any of the big
yeah, me
names
neither.
outside of Iran. For those
Me
of you
neither.
who just let me give a quick summary. For those of you who don't know, there are three main figures outside of Iran who are trying really hard to claim the whole protest. One of them is the son of the Shah of Iran, Reza Pahlavi. The
Yeah,
other is the leader of the Iranian Mujahideen, Maryam
people's.
Rajavi. And the other one is Masih Ali-Nejad, which is a journalist that is working with Iran International or VOA. I don't remember which one.
I think I think both. Really?
She is the one that got a lot of attention. But yeah,
Hmm.
these three are the ones that really want to sort of claim the protests.
Yeah, but also there
And
are other opposition groups as well,
oh yeah, yeah,
yeah, like
yeah.
the what was it called? Then I don't know the translation. The National Party, the Party of Mossadegh, that
Oh
was like
yeah,
butchered,
yeah.
but bunch of
I
times.
mean,
Yeah,
those are like really weird remnants of old time. Like if right
yeah.
now
Like the
you,
Tudeh Party is still sort of alive,
yeah, like it's
and
kind of like if a revolution happens in, I don't know, America, and one of the main parties is the Federalists. Not
yes, the Federalists. Yeah,
yeah,
and also there are the Federation of Anarchists. I
yeah.
kind of like them. And yeah, there are a bunch of groups really.
Yeah, but these three are the ones that I at least see the most mention.
Yes, that's
But
true.
I don't think any of them are the alternative. When I think of that question, my mind is obviously going to, we need to have the same thing that we were promised in 79 and in 1905,
Yes.
a democracy, a parliament.
I think, yeah, that's why I'm not necessarily worried. I don't think people are going to give away the revolution to the likes of Reza Shah or, well, he's not really Shah, Reza
No, no,
Pahlavi.
he's Reza
Uh,
Pahlavi.
to the likes of Pahlavi, or he's not even Pahlavi. The name was fabricated. Anyway, they're not going to give the revolution to the likes of Reza or Masih al-Najad or
Yeah, Maya
Majavi,
Merjev, yeah.
because they have the historical memory of giving away the revolution to uh, basically a tyrant, right?
Yeah.
Who stole the whole thing from them. So I doubt that would ever happen. Hopefully, and I think people are more than capable to uh, create um, a sort of a democratic transition to a parliamentary system. Now,
Yeah.
my own, of course, what I like is for it to be a combination of both direct democracy and indirect democracy. But regardless, I hope a democratic transition happens to a democratic state.
Yeah, yeah. I'm completely with you.
And the thing is that like this is not gonna happen if we don't try, right? Like
Exactly.
if you're afraid of trying, democracy is out of the question. Any possibility of progress is out of the question. Like if you're afraid of making changes, if you're afraid of changing the regime, then you basically agree that it should still run the country.
I'm complete. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. Is just that um, uh, the alternative, whatever it is, um, doesn't mean that we shouldn't try, because and this is a
Mhm.
very like conservative in the literal word of the literal sense of the word position, because it's like, yeah, I will kill us, will basically ruin the country,
Yeah.
but it might get worse, and it's like, yeah, but it
Yeah.
might get
But I'm
better.
afraid of the change.
Yeah,
But I'm
exactly.
afraid.
Some people, their whole business, like their whole livelihood, is entangled with the IR,
Yeah.
and like
But
for
not
them,
many.
yeah.
But
But
the majority of people.
I mean, at least in my area of work, which is cinema, it is a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, I think in media and communication in general, a lot.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't really be working in uh, national industries such as cinema and not be
Yeah.
involved with the government.
But the thing is that, and this leads to the second question, which is the one I've heard a lot,
Mm.
is that do people know what they want? This one was more prominent at the beginning of the whole
Yes.
movement. Yeah, and it's like, do people even know what they want?
Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
they do. I mean, it's such a ridiculous argument
Yeah,
because it's like, yes, people want democracy. They have been fighting for it for more than a century.
yeah,
It's obvious. If this revolution is successful, we're the only country on earth that had like three revolutions to this scale in the last century. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we know what we want. We want democracy.
Exactly. But the point they're saying mostly is that some people want like the removal of the hijab laws. Some people want more lax morality police. And I'm like, you could have
No.
said that in like September 17th, like
Yeah.
literally the day after Mahsa Amini's death. Sorry, Mahsa Amini's murder. I
Mm.
hate when people call it death. Mahsa Amini's murder.
Mm.
But right now, it's very obvious. I mean, the fucking Ahuns and the mullahs themselves realize that the
Yeah.
core of the problem is the
Mm.
regime,
Yeah. I
not
mean,
not the morality.
it's one of the main slogans.
Yeah,
It's like in most of the slogans, really, like death to the Islamic Republic, death to the leader, the supreme leader,
yeah,
death to like all of it, like or even like one of the slogans is that the literal translation is the core of the regime is our aim, meaning like we want to destroy
yeah,
the core of the regime.
yeah, exactly. And like this one is such a cowardly position in my eyes.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, we don't know what people want, and so we can't support them. It kind of entangles with the question that, oh, if IR is overthrown, what will happen? It's like, no, people want IR overthrown,
Hmm.
and people want a democracy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very clear. It can't
exactly.
be clearer. Like,
Uh, yeah, exactly. Like this is for people who are still mulling it over in their head that, oh, I don't know if this is a right way. No, no, the such questions, such doubts
mhm,
doesn't work when the Islamic Republic kills little children.
yeah, I
Whatever the
think
alternative is, it's not gonna be as bad.
I think it's just nonsensical arguments. I mean, they're not really arguments. They're just fallacies used to. I mean, they know that what the goals and the aims of the revolution is, but they just don't want to support it. So, because they don't want to come off as, um, I suppose,
Heartless.
yes, heartless, they would rather use such stupid fallacies instead.
Exactly. It's an excuse. It's not an
Yeah,
argument.
it's an
It's an
excuse.
excuse.
Exactly, it's an
So
excuse.
to that end, and this is again, it's like I've planned this. It leads
Mhm.
to the next point, which is for people who don't want to support, who say, do people even know what they want? And you tell them they want the overthrow of the Islamic Republic. The next
Mhm.
point is, but the Islamic Republic is too powerful. It will never go away.
Right. Um,
So
I
this one
mean,
is
was this the like was this argument made much right after the head of Hezbollah agreed to negotiate with Israel? Because if that's the case, my dude, you're
God,
you're
no.
wrong.
Yeah, and like there is a reason, like even again, John Oliver,
Hmm.
halfway around the world, like literally, no, not halfway, fully around the world, realized that this one is different because so far, um, there is a difference in this one that I think was lacking in both. like
Hmm.
what are the two big protests or movements? One of
Hmm.
them was the Green Movement in 2009, and the
Yeah.
other one was the 2019 one, when they shot down the plane.
Yeah.
Um, and both of them were pretty, like, brutally suppressed. People didn't
Yes.
fight back in the Green Movement. I remember the Green Movement. I was 15 at the time. And
Yeah, I
so,
remember it very well.
yeah.
I
And like,
disagreed with it heavily at the time.
yeah,
Yeah, I was like my mom was a supporter of it, and
yeah,
I was like one
exactly.
of the people, one of the like the leaders is a mullah. Like, stop it.
Yeah, Karubi.
Yeah,
And the other one isn't much better. The
yeah. He's a mullah
Musavi
without the what's it called
turban. Yeah,
in turban. Yeah, without the turban.
exactly. Like, this one is definitely different because, first of all, the 2009 one was mainly in big cities. I think, like, it
Oh
was,
yeah, it was primarily in Tehran and some big cities.
yeah, it was mostly about stolen votes, which,
Yes.
to be honest, right now feels absurd to even think of. Like, at the time, people were thinking, "Oh, they've stolen our votes," and it's like, those people in 2019 who said, "Oh, this year is the worst. It can't get any worse than this."
Yes.
It's like,
Wow.
oh, wow,
Oh
you
boy.
sweet summer child.
Yeah.
So,
But
the Auburn one, which is the
mm,
first time
bloody
Auburn one is a,
November.
yeah, 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 the 2019 one,
Yeah.
which is the first time they actually shut off internet, completely cut off internet, and killed
Yeah.
1,500 people in complete media silence.
Yeah.
They tried that exact tactic right now, and it didn't work.
Yeah. Because so I think one big difference is that successful revolutions, um, I would call it like people's revolutions, because there are revolutions that are handled with like a portion of society, but
Yeah,
they have some support, right?
yeah,
Um, but people's revolutions that come from the society without much support and they win big, they often happen when all facets of society come together against a particular regime or against or for a particular goal, right?
yeah, exactly.
So in the green movement, we had like pseudo intellectuals, students. Specifically, students are usually always in the center of such matters, um, and we had middle class people who wanted a reformist government, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and in the bloody November, we mostly had like very poor people, like from the proletarian families, from lower class families, who wanted to fight against the regime. Um,
yeah. And
because
then they,
there was so much pressure on them, like they had nothing else to lose, right?
yeah,
But right now, I think this and the current revolution that is happening, it's not run just by the intellectual, just by the students, just by poor people, middle class people, even the bourgeoisie. They have all come together for a specific goal, and I think
exactly.
that's what makes it very different.
Yeah,
And it is shown in the slogans as well. Like if we go back to Bloody November, like the slogans were representative of that movement, which was mostly economic, right?
yeah,
Or in the Green Movement, like much of the slogans were Islamic. They were like in line with the Islamic Revolution and the Islamist factions.
yeah, yeah,
So slogans are very interesting to look at because they represent the needs and wants of that movement, specific movement, right?
Yeah.
So I think this one, both in terms of aesthetic and um, like the way that you look at it, it represents almost all of society, and it's
Yeah.
for all of society, and all of Iran is standing for it. So it's completely different.
Exactly. Now, after the bonus one, we're going to talk more about the whole idea of all of Iran standing for it.
Hmm.
But the thing is that I completely agree with you that this one is different because, like, the movement that started it is the realization that half of the population is being oppressed,
Hmm.
which is not something that happened during the 2009 or the 2019.
Yeah.
Like, it's the first time people realize, oh, maybe there needs to be some more progressive movements. So now you said that all levels of society are involved in it, and I completely agree. Some people are here for the economic reasons, some people are here
Yeah.
for human rights, women's rights. All of them are for once together. And
Yeah.
the only group that seems to be still holding back is the traditionalists.
Hmm.
And we will get to them, those fuckers. But the only reason they seem to be holding back is because their own goals and like ideals are aligned with the Islamic Republic. They're just
Hmm.
less
Yeah.
savage. So,
Yes.
but you mentioned something, and I think that's a great segue because the number four in the list that I've written is that this is a point that has been happening a lot recently, is that nothing has happened and nothing will happen. So
Hmm.
why even try? Now, this one I have very big issues with because a lot of stuff have happened for this movement specifically. I'm talking about September to now. It's haven't even been a month, full month yet. In three
Hmm.
days, it'll be a full month.
Right.
Um, a lot of great stuff already has happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like my mom tells me, and correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not in Iran, but my mom tells me that people like women are not wearing the hijab. Like many of them are not wearing the hijab. Like when she's going to buy groceries or whatnot, in the malls, in restaurants, in like just casual places, women are not covering the hairs. So I think that's a big step, and it's insane that it's happening. Like I would have
Yeah.
never dreamed of an Iran in which women would like casually walk around without the hijab.
Yeah. For those of you who are not in Iran, this is a big deal. Like, this is not a small deal. This is a big deal because despite the morality police being there, Iran is, for the most part, still a very traditional society, a very
I wouldn't say
religious.
that. I wouldn't say that. I
It,
mean,
I mean, for many of us in the like middle to upper classes, yeah,
hmm,
but like,
fair enough.
dude, there are still many places who have very big regard for traditional values, and that is why it is
Fair
an
enough. Fair enough.
important thing.
Hmm.
Because a lot of those classes and like societies are loosening up,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
yeah, a lot of stuff has happened. Like, even in the international stage,
Hmm.
at the very least, unlike the Bloody November, unlike 2009, this time people know that Iranians have been killed.
Yeah.
Like, major news sources now know.
Yeah.
The whole thing about Bloody November, the reason it was a Bloody November is that they cut off the internet, killed 1,500 people in silence, and the world moved
And there
on.
was no reaction. Like it was only recently that the what was it called? One of the human rights organizations called the supreme leader and the president, and Rouhani, the former president,
yeah,
um, the like criminals, and that they have done crime against humanity. Like
yeah.
only recently,
I mean, to be honest,
after
it is
two
a
years, more
yeah,
than two
but
years, after 3 years.
that's the thing though. Like the timing, as I said, like they cut off the internet, so no news was getting out. Um, and then COVID happened,
Yeah,
so the world kind of just
so
moved on. But
convenient, so fucking convenient for them.
yeah, but right now, people like the fact that a lot of people know about Mahsa, a lot of people know about Nika, and Nika is the one that I honestly choke up when I think about it. For those of you who don't know, the Islamic Republic kidnapped, literally kidnapped,
And
a
she was
six
16.
yeah 16-year-old girl. Uh, God knows what they did to her. I mean, we kind of know they probably, because it is legal under
Mm.
um, Sharia law, sexually molested her, killed her, mutilated
I
her
don't. They
body.
didn't molest her. They fucking raped her.
Yeah, I was trying to. I don't know why I was trying to be fucking PG. I said fuck already. We are making explicit. Lad, they fucking raped her. They
Yeah.
mutilated her body, like, and they when they gave the body to the family said we're gonna have a funeral and we're gonna have a public funeral. So they fucking stole the body
Mm.
and then tried to say that she committed suicide. And she was 16. Fuck.
It's insane. It's insane.
Yeah. The
But
level
I
of
think,
savagery, like
mm,
it defies fiction.
yeah.
Like if George R. R. Martin put something like this, like he put something like this in Game of Thrones. I don't remember
Mm,
the book's name. Song of Ice and Fire.
yeah.
People would be like, "Oh, he's making the characters look too bad."
Yeah. I think this, like in this situation, it's so black and white
Yeah,
that it's just it's not greatest storytelling, because it's
exactly.
even like it's even more black and white than the most black and white stories out there.
This
There
is
is
as
no
black and
redeeming,
white
like
as
there is
fucking
that the Islamic Republic has no redeeming qualities, and that's
exactly.
why the revolution is happening, because like Iranian people are very decent people for the most part. Like they avoid violence, they try to avoid confrontation as much as possible, and they thought this government, this regime, has redeeming qualities for the longest time, but they, whatever they tried, even after their votes were stolen, they still voted. They still
Yeah,
thought, well, maybe we can change things. Maybe this
I
time it
was
will be
one of
different.
those people. I voted for Rouhani for his
Oh,
second
really?
term. Yeah.
Okay. I think that was a dumb move, but regardless, I
Uh,
think it's out of honesty and decency, although
yeah,
somewhat idiotic.
naivete. Yeah, it is. It.
Naivety,
I was.
naivety is a better word. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I was. So the funny thing about myself is that I have always been against like certain oppositions in like against the Islamic Republic, not because I like the Islamic Republic, but because I found those oppositions lacking or too naive. Like
Yeah.
the Green Movement, I found it too naive. The Rouhani voting, I found it too naive. But this time is different. Like this time, this is the only time I'm 100% behind this movement.
I am. I'm completely with you on that. Like as I said, as everyone said, this time it feels different because it is different.
Yeah,
So I'm gonna do the bonus one. There is no segue into it. You are the one who said that to me because there is this fucking. We have our own version of Alex Jones in Iran. It's called Ra'ifi Pool.
yeah.
Yeah.
I
He
would
is
say he's
as
more like Ben Shapiro. Well, maybe a
uh
combination.
yeah, because he says the stupid shit that Alex Jones says,
Yeah,
but he's not as angry as Alex
yeah.
Jones. He said something that you told me. I watched the clip. He said
Mm.
that the reason this whole revolution how is happening is because young people are pent up.
Yeah,
He means sexually, by the way.
yeah.
So, do we even need to talk about how stupid that is?
I mean, it's insane. Did you see what was her name? The daughter of one of the martyrs in the war.
Oh yeah, yeah,
She posted something.
Barkevi.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She posted something saying that like she shit on him heavily.
Yeah.
It was very
So,
sad.
for those of you who don't know, when the Islamic Revolution happened in 1979, there was an 8 year war. And that is a very big thing for Islamic Republic. Like the loyalists and people like that, the phrase, I'm paraphrasing, uh,
Mm,
we had martyrs so you can do X or stuff like that. It's like
mm,
we gave martyrs. Like this is the
yeah.
favorite phrase of Islamic Republic
I
loyalists.
mean, it's like Jesus, right? Jesus died for your sins, so you can't do this,
Exactly,
right? So it's like
exactly,
these martyrs died for you, so you can't do shit. So you
exactly. These
can't be happy.
martyrs died for you, so Islamic Republic
You
can
can't.
kill
So you
16 year
can't live a
olds.
decent life. So
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. So one of them who was a youngish guy was Barkeri. I don't remember the name. I
Mm,
think it was Said. I'm not sure.
mm,
And his daughter said that by your definition, my dad and all of those martyrs that you love so much, they all were just sexually pent up.
yeah.
Fucking idiot. God.
I mean,
And
he's not. Mm,
the fact
go
that
ahead.
he is the he is the what do you say, the hipster of the loyalist movement.
Yeah,
Like as you said, he's the Ben Shapiro for alt right.
yeah.
God damn it, I'm so angry.
He's he's. I think. Um, like I don't know if he's really stupid. I think maybe he's not. But he knows that if the revolution is successful, he's not gonna be as popular, as rich as he is now, and he's forced to like actually work for life instead of spending time making shit up and
Yeah, that
taking
is true.
taking billions upon billions just because he like talks bullshit in universities. Like in a free Iran, in an Iran that is democratic, like no university would ever allow someone like Roy People to even like
Oh
step in
yeah,
and
yeah,
to give a fucking lecture. Like who the fuck
yeah,
are you? He has no education. He has no academic background. He has nothing. He's nothing.
yeah. I mean, to be honest, our current president doesn't have an
Yeah.
education.
Yes. So yeah, that I think the fear that Rafipour and the likes of him feel is that if the revolution is successful, there is no place for us. Like there are people who were loyalists or whatnot, and they moved outside of the country, and they still found like a university, an
Yeah,
institution somewhere to work and to like contribute to make money off, right? But
yeah, yeah,
these people like Raifipur, if he moves out of Iran, no university, no institution, like no one is going to accept this guy. Like maybe he could wash. His only chance is to clean the toilets. Like he has no chance of doing anything whatsoever
yeah.
outside of the Islamic Republic. That's why they're afraid. That's why they make these shit up.
Exactly, and that's why. Well, time to go to. a segue to another thing that he said, but it's
Hmm.
one that I've heard a lot of times, and
Yeah.
one that is been used for the last fucking century, not by just Islamic Republic, but by the Shah. The
Hmm.
separatist movements will gain more power, and Iran will be a bunch of like separate states. It will be
Yeah.
disintegrated.
Yeah. I mean,
Yup.
it's like, and the things are like, for the premise of this argument to even be validated, for it to have any merits, we need to accept the fact that mullahs are the reason Iran is not uh, a bunch of separated states. Like, the reason Iran
Yeah,
has a national identity is because of mullahs. Like, we have to accept that first, and it's such a
yeah,
ridiculous claim. Um, because the only reason there was separatist movements and separatist
sentiments.
sentiments in Iran was because of mullahs. Like, that was one of the primary reasons, because
Yeah,
uh, Ir-
exactly.
because the national identity of being an Iranian was erased by mullahs, or at least they tried to erase it. So I mean, this is such
Exactly.
a ridiculous claim. This is the more I think this is the most ridiculous claim.
I'm completely with you. Like the reason people say that okay, for those of you again, I'm
It's like
sort of
it's like
explaining
Hitler.
for
It's like Hitler saying, "If I go away, like there is going to be a race war between people, or
yeah, you're the reason.
Germany is going to be." Yeah, like
Exactly. But you
even
know the
even
thing is
if
that
even if Hitler that made that claim, it would make more sense. Like, I can't think of a
come on.
great example because it is so ridiculous.
Exactly. Like, okay, imagine you're a Kurd or an Azeri person or a Law person. I'm talking about, or Sistani or even Arabic in the south of Iran. And for the last 40 years, and even I said before that, during even Shah's time, this isn't something unique to Islamic Republic. It
Yeah.
happened then too. All of your needs, all of your culture, all of your um, wants have been completely sidelined by what is a central Iranian government and what is a vague identity known as Persian, which,
Hmm.
to be honest, I am part of them. Like I'm from Isfahan, which is one of the Persian states. So,
Yeah.
yeah, of course you have separatist movements then, but the reason for that is because they don't have a voice.
Yeah.
Like you're the reason they want to separate. If you're not here, they probably won't. And and this is not a good take. I'm admitting that beforehand. But if the Iranian identity, if the country of Iran is so weak that
Hmm.
the glue that holds it together is the Islamic Republic, I'm sorry for being this harsh and this fucking idiotic, but okay, let it fall apart.
Yeah, and it's
We had a
not.
good run. It's
It's
not. I know it's not,
like
but
fucking. So I mean, for those who are not familiar with history, um, Iran and the national identity of being Iranian is much much older than, say, being Roman or being Greek, and to this day, this identity has been preserved, and Iran was invaded by the Greeks,
by
Arabs,
Macedonians, yeah,
by well, yeah, Macedonians, um, by
Mongols,
Arabs, by Mongols, by Turks, by all kinds of people,
by
and
Afghans.
by Afghans, and they were all Persianized, or basically they became
Yeah, yeah.
so.
Okay, okay, dude, we need
They
to talk about
like they were
this.
consumed into the Iranian culture, the
Yeah,
Persian
like
culture.
we need to talk about the fact that the Mongolians who were not Muslims
Yeah,
attacked Iran, conquered Iran, became Muslims
became
because of
Muslim
it.
and became Persianized.
Yeah,
They made a second edition, or at least as we know, second edition of the Book of Kings. Like they became so Persianized that it's almost like it is one of the what's it called? Like the golden age of Persia. It's in one of the periods of Mongol
yeah,
Empire. Like it's Iran. Maybe there are only a handful of civilizations that had this sort of preservation of their national identity. I can think of
exactly.
Iran, I can think of India, I can think of China, I can think of Greece to some extent,
Yeah,
but the rest, like I don't think they have had such a strong national identity. Like let's take
I'm
Romans
with
for
you.
example. Like no one consider themselves Roman anymore, or Egyptian even, or
Yeah, Egyptians usually think of like at least Jamal Abdel Nasser thought of the Egypt as an Arabic nation.
I mean even now most of them do, and
Yeah, yeah.
they hardly consider themselves Egyptian in the sense that um,
Pharaohs and stuff like
yeah,
that.
they think of themselves as like being from Egypt, an Arab being
Yeah,
from the Egypt. Like it's so yeah. Like I don't think Iran is going to like it's going to become a bunch of separate states just because mullahs are not in power.
exactly. And as I said, even if accept all odds, it's going to happen. We had a good run.
Yeah.
We preserved the union for
Yes. If it's gonna
thousand
fall
years.
apart just because mullahs are not in power, I mean,
Yeah,
let it fall apart. I mean,
exactly. Like the Persian identity, the Iranian identity that you said. I'm not going to use the word Persian because, well, we commonly use Persian for the middle part, which is Esfahan,
yeah,
Shiraz.
but
Um,
also outside of Iran, it's used interchangeably.
yeah, yeah,
For the
and
most part.
we use it too. But I'm just saying,
Yeah,
I'm making a conscious choice here. The Iranian identity that you said is mostly preserved by the same people that the Islamic Republic are claimed to be separatists, by Kurds, by Laws, by Sistani people, the people they are
hmm
massacring. Like literally right now, Sanandaj, the capital of the Kurd province of Iran, and
right,
Zahedan, the capital of the Sistani province of Iran, are
right,
literal war zones.
right.
They literally have like machine gun, like they don't use batons or shockers
Oh
anymore.
yeah,
They'll go in with rifles.
yeah,
They killed over 100 people in Zahedan alone.
yeah. I think it's even more now. Probably
Yeah,
more.
like we know what 100 who were named.
Yeah, most likely way more.
Yeah, because people in Zahedan have been subjugated for way too long. Like most of them don't
Mm.
even have national IDs.
Yeah.
So yeah,
A lot of minorities are like that. A lot of ethnicities,
yeah,
religious minorities, LGBT
yeah.
plus people,
Oh, we will get
religious
to
minorities. Oh yeah, you're right.
we will
Sorry.
get to them,
Yeah.
but the thing is that Iran has always been a multi-ethnical, multicultural country.
Multi-religious.
Yeah, multi-religious. The fact that it is a prominently Persian country is something that is very recent. It's been going on for the last century. Like
Yeah.
literally, Reza Shah, the father of the last Shah, is the one who started that because he wanted a ethnic identity for Iran the same way that Turkey had one,
Yeah. But the thing
which
is
is
that like
also wrong for Turkey because Turkey has a great Kurd population. But you
yes.
know,
But
Ataturk was a
it's one of like when you look at the map of the Middle Earth. Sorry, I said Middle Earth. The
map
map
of the
of the
Middle East.
Middle East. Um, and in terms of like ethnicity and religious diversity, um, Iran, if it's, I think it's the most like multicultural, multi ethno-religious country that you can find,
Yeah,
and it
I
should
mean,
be a matter of like a matter that we should be proud of. It's
yeah,
something that is very rare to find in the region, because when you look at like Saudi Arabia, right down there, it's a complete monolith. Like everyone, in terms of ethnicity and religious, it's a complete monolith.
yeah,
And we should be proud that we have so many different kind of ideas, customs, cultures, ethnicities, religions, and all that good stuff,
yeah.
being in our country. And
Like
it's beautiful.
what people don't know is that we also have like great population centers of neighboring countries. As I said, we have a great
Yeah.
Arabic population, we have a great Armenian population,
Afghan population.
Afghan population, we have a great
Yeah.
I don't know the correct, we call them Turkmen,
Yeah,
uh,
Turkmen.
pop, Turkmen population. Like Khorasan itself used to be the we have right now. I'm part of Afghanistan, so there is a lot of overlap there. And I can't tell you how stupid and how cowardly it is to
Mhm.
say that, oh, there are separatist movements. Yeah, there are. And to be
Mm.
honest, there is a reason for that. The reason itself is the Islamic Republic. The reason itself
Yes.
is the years of subjugation.
Yes.
And the great thing about this current movement is that it is accepting that, yeah, people in Zahedan have been subjugated, they need freedom. One of the slogans that we talked about, one of the
Mhm.
biggest one is that be the voice of Zahedan, be the voice
Yeah.
of Sanandaj.
Yeah. I mean, even like I'm against separatist movements, but even like separatist movements should have a voice, should like
Yeah,
express what they want to say. Like, it's such a like wild like I don't think the majority of people are going to agree with separatist movements. I think it's a very small minority, especially in a free Iran. But even then, like they have to voice their arguments. They have to
yeah,
have a platform to say what they want. Um, it's insane that's like like you they have been suppressing these people. They have been
exactly.
beating
If
them
there is a
down,
separatist movement,
and they don't give them any chance to express themselves, and they expect them to not have any separatist sentiments. Like, uh,
exactly.
of course they're
Like,
going to have, like
uh,
even people like Gilak people, like people who had no history of being separatists, gained some separatist sentiments throughout the years because of the Islamic Republic. Because
yeah,
like Islamic Republic is such a fucking virus that people want to avoid it as much as possible, and sometimes they see it in separation. Like they look at Azerbaijan, they look at Armenia, they look at not Afghanistan, but they look at all these countries that got separated from Iran, and they
yeah.
think, oh well, I
They look
prefer,
at Bahrain.
yeah, Bahrain,
Bahrain has been separated from Iran for the last 50 years. It's not
yeah.
too long.
They look at all these countries and they're like, yeah, I mean, I mean, I might be Iranian, I might be whatever, but I rather live a decent life in a small country rather than being part of a historical historical country with a national
Yeah,
identity, so on.
yeah.
Like, what's the point? What's that gonna get me? Like, is it
And
going to give me money? Is it going to give me a decent life? No.
exactly. And a small country has more issues to deal with in terms of foreign uh, influence. And
Of course.
remember, Middle East is not like Middle East is a peaceful region in the world. It's
Of
never
course.
been a peaceful region in the world.
Of
Like,
course.
the
Yeah,
greatest, like,
but what I'm trying to say is that like they look at it and they
yeah,
like the separatist sentiment is like understandable. Even like I wouldn't be surprised if like people from Isfahan think, oh, like Isfahani people, they're actually kind of like they weren't Persian. So we look at we want to free Isfahan from
yeah.
Iran. Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah, no, no, I'm
understandable.
with you. This, if Isfahan could, it would break off. It can't
Yeah.
because it's in the middle. But
Yeah, but that's why I provided that example because it's very
yeah,
unlikely. But what I'm trying to say is that like when you have such a dreadful regime, sometimes you think of very unlikely scenarios. You think of like these sort of scenarios that what if we just separated from the country? And
yeah.
there are, and when you look at the examples and their successes, well, you feel persuaded.
I mean, yeah. But the thing is that I'm saying that much like if someone outside of your home sexually harasses a girl, it's the boy's fault for not being able to control himself and not the girl's fault. If there
Oh.
is a separatist movement,
Mm.
it's the central government's fault, not the
Yeah.
separatists' fault. They
Yeah.
have, like, yeah, Kurds do have a reason to be. Sorry, my voice cut.
Hmm.
The Kurdish people do have valid reasons to be separatists.
Yeah.
Sanandaji people do. Gilaki people do. Even Khorasani people do.
Yeah.
But there is a reason they, like, if they wanted to separate, like,
But
okay, let's talk
so
about the
one
Kurdish
thing we
people.
need to okay, we need to clarify something. The separatist movements are not nearly as big as what they make it to be. Like,
Exactly.
for example, one of the main. Here's an example. I'm going to show that it's not as big as they make it to be. It's like much smaller. Um, One of the key parties that they always bring up is Kumala, the uh,
Oh
the
yeah,
the Kurdistan's organization of the Communist Party of Iran,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's not a separatist party. It
yeah,
doesn't want to separate from Iran. It has nothing to do with separation. It's literally called the Kurdistan's organization of the Communist Party of Iran. So it has nothing to do with separation. And it
yeah.
is the main party that is brought up by the likes of Raifipur to talk about separatist movement. So this is the amount of how like small it is because they can't find anything else. They have to bring up like a communist party that doesn't have anything to do with separatist movement to provide an
Exactly,
example.
exactly. And like the other one that I hear a lot is like the first country they think, the first region they think will separate is Azerbaijan, because we do
Yeah.
have a region in,
Pan-Turkish
yeah, yeah, north,
sentiment.
west of Iran, which is Azerbaijan, and we have a country that is Azerbaijan. So it's kind
Yeah.
of like, oh yeah, they will join together.
Yeah.
And it's like, first of all, if they wanted to separate, you think they couldn't have? Like, you think that, again, like the revolution, like, okay, even in Shah's, like in 1979,
Yeah.
When Azerbaijan joined the Islamic Revolution, they fucking destroyed Shah's regime. Like, they could
Yeah.
have separated if they wanted. There
Yeah.
is a national identity that many of these people do still hold. Yeah, people in Azerbaijan, the country, don't, because they've been outside of Iran for the past 200 years.
Yeah. I think also one of the reasons they talk about Azerbaijan and also Kurdistan is because of the
Ethnic.
republics that were made there
Oh, yeah.
in during the World War II, um, right after World War II rather. like the Soviet Union created them. Basically,
Yeah, yeah.
they were autonomous republics made by the Soviet Union. But
And there is a ethnic undertone, I think, there too.
yes, yeah,
Like
ethnic
Iran is more
tension.
racist than you think.
Yeah, yeah, there were ethnic tensions. But even them, they weren't they didn't hold up that long. And when the Soviet Union left, like they just fucking vanished.
Yeah,
So it was a construct made by a foreign country. So like there is no evidence to be found that like the majority of people in Azerbaijan or in Kurdistan, whatnot, they have this sort of sense that they want to be separated,
yeah.
historically at least.
And again, I think after the revolution, after the movement comes to fruition, they will have a voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like the thing is that I
I mean,
don't, at
if
least I
if they
hope
want
so.
to, like, if like, I mean, it in an unlikely scenario that the majority of people in Azerbaijan, because one thing that we don't keep in mind is that Azerbaijan is not ethnically a monolith, a state
Yeah,
either. Like
yeah.
they're not all Turks. So here's another thing that this
It,
separatist argument makes the separatist argument very stupid because
yeah.
they're not a monolith, and yeah, so
People
I don't
from
know.
Ardabil
This
don't
is
call
just an
themselves
incredibly stupid
Azeri.
argument. Yeah, that's true.
And like, even the Kurdistan region is not a monolith. Even Isfahan, as I said, it has a big
Yeah,
Armenian population and a big Qashqai population and Lov
yeah,
population. So it's like, okay,
yeah.
the only monolithic thing that you can find is in fucking Qom. And it's because most of them are fucking Ahuns and mullahs.
Not most of them.
Yeah,
I,
I
I
know.
mean,
It's a
have you seen fucking people from home beating up all these uh,
yeah,
betches?
that's a big thing. Like when Qom rises up, okay, there is this city in Isfahan called
Hmm.
Najafabad,
Yeah.
and it is a hotbed for mullah activity. A lot of the
Mm.
famous ones are from there, including
Mm.
Jannati. And when Najafabad comes and says we don't want the Islamic Republic, like you done fucked up, like you've done
Yeah.
something. This is different, but the reason we talk too much about this is because this is a main thing that a lot of people still believe for some reason.
Mm.
And again, as we both discussed, it's a very cowardly and very misinformed argument.
Right.
But the next one
Yeah.
is, and this is one that is usually used by, oddly enough, the fucking supreme leader. These are our
Oh.
kids, not grown ups.
Oh. I mean, I mean,
Yeah, but
it's stupid. I mean,
yeah,
it's not just kids. Kids are also part of it. It's so massive that kids are also part of it.
exactly.
And
And there are a lot of people saying that this is the Gen Z revolution, like people of
no,
our age
mm,
uh, and younger. And the thing is that, well, if it is a Gen Z revolution, it's because your generation fucked it up.
yeah, that's true. But I
Like,
see it as a sort of a revolution of all generations. Really,
yeah,
think all people have come together. The only reason, you see Gen Z people more often is that because they're the young folks. Like if we go back to the 1979 revolution, when you look at the photos, young people come out, young people are on the streets doing the hard work. Like it's always the young people that do the hard work.
yeah,
Like what do you
because
want?
young
You
because
want
young people
fucking
don't have
old
the
ass folks like
yeah,
fighting cops? Like what do you want?
and young people don't have like roots in a sense that They don't they are not afraid of losing as much as older generations are.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So yeah, I do admit, yeah, it is mostly kids that are in the street, but that
Yeah.
shouldn't be a
But
reason for you
so
to
was
not.
so was 1979 revolution.
Exactly. And again, so was the fucking martyrs. Like, one of the most
Yeah.
famous one was this 13-year-old who threw himself under the tank.
I mean, that one was mostly lies. So let's not.
Yeah. No, no, it's first of all, that's a stupid strategy. I don't care that
Yeah,
he
and
died. That was a stupid
and
strategy.
not practical at all.
Yeah. So the
But
thing
there were
is that,
kids. But there were kids that were used by
yeah,
the Islamic Republic to fight against Iraq.
exactly. Exactly. And that's horrifying, by the way.
Yeah.
One of these days, we need to talk about the fact that one of the more prominent politicians currently in Iran is a guy named Mohsen Rezai, and he knowingly sent people to die.
Yeah. Many of them did, in fact.
Yeah,
And when you look at the death toll, it's horrifying. Like, the comparing the death toll in Iran and Iraq,
yeah.
it's
An
horrifying
unnecessary death toll
and
because,
very
okay,
unnecessary. Like Iran had a
yeah,
strategy of making what's it called, like meat shields, like human shields.
yeah, yeah.
Like they basically
And
throw people out there to get shot.
oh, I mean, the fucking, like, uh, you know that when the revolution happened, they killed a lot of generals, and then the war
Yeah,
happened, and they realized, oh, we don't have any generals.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the only times we didn't get people killed, like the Islamic Republic didn't have people killed, is when generals from Shah's regime were
Mm.
involved,
Yeah.
like the siege of Abadan that was
Yes, yes.
broken. Anyways, but the thing is that I'm saying that these
I
are,
mean,
yeah,
their
these are,
strategy, like most of their strategy, was just throw people out. Like it's like if you play a strategy game and you don't know how to play a strategy game, and you're fucking heartless as fuck, you just gather, like you make as many soldiers as possible and then just throw them
yeah,
to the enemy. Like
exactly.
that was basically the Islamic Republic's strategy.
Exactly. Which is why we have so many martyrs.
Yeah.
Half of them didn't even, more than half, two-thirds of them didn't need to be. Like,
Yeah.
okay, the reason I single out Mohsen is because there is a very infamous operation that he was in charge of,
Hmm.
that they knew the operation was discovered, that Iraq knew this was going to happen. There is no tactical advantage to it. There is no reason to do it. They still did the operation and got
Mm.
everyone killed.
Yeah.
Fuck. And but the thing I'm saying is, yeah, these are all kids in the street, but that shouldn't be a reason for you to not support the revolution. It should be a reason for
That
you to
should be
join
a
them.
reason for you to support the
Yeah.
revolution.
If you don't do it for
Like
yourself, do it for
like
the
fucking
kids.
student, like fucking high school students, or even like middle school students
Yeah.
are throwing, like are what's it called, like the picture of Khomeini and the
Oh yeah,
supreme
yeah.
leader.
We have a
Like
picture of our
they're
supreme leader on the
yeah,
wall.
they're fucking taking their photos off of the walls and whatnot. Like they're doing all kinds of shit, really brave shit. So
Yeah.
if you look at that, and so here's how you know someone is an asshole or not. When they look at that and think, oh, like this is serious. Like these brave young people, young girls mostly, are doing all
Yeah.
these brave things. Even young boys. I mean, I was so moved when like middle school boys were on the streets shouting "Woman Life Freedom." Like I was
Yeah.
so moved by it. So when you look at these and you're not moved by it, you don't think you should also contribute to it. Rather, you think that like this is a revolution, mm, like by the kids, and you shouldn't support it. Then you're an asshole.
Yeah. Exactly. So, with that said, I'm just gonna say that so far you heard us dismantle a lot of the arguments, most prominent arguments against the revolution. I'm gonna have to ask you to support the revolution, be the voice of Iranians. Still do have internet problems, and it will get worse. And do not let the international community forget about us like they did in the bloody November. I know the world is a mess right now with Russia and everything, and like there is a military coup in China.
I mean, wasn't that like a rumor?
I I don't know.
I think it was.
There was like footage that was kind of weird, but okay. Anyway, the thing is that I know the world is a mess, but just remember what is happening in Iran is important. What is happening in Afghanistan is important, also, by the way.
Yeah, fucking Afghan women were also inspired by this and came out
Yeah,
on the streets against the
and
Taliban.
Taliban started killing them.
Yeah.
And you should realize, and this is important, this is the one thing I want you to remember before we get on to the last two. There is no ideological or methodological difference between the Islamic Republic and the Taliban
And the ISIS.
and the ISIS, yeah.
And Saudi Arabia.
The only difference between all of them is that the Islamic Republic is Shia, Saudi Arabia and ISIS are Sunni.
Yeah.
That's the only difference. And ISIS doesn't have a lot of territory.
I mean, even Shia and Sunni doesn't really have much relevancy.
Oh
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it has
But
nothing to do with it. And like,
that's the only that's the only the reason Saudi Arabia and ISIS don't like Islamic Republic is because of the Shia stuff.
yeah, that's true. But what I mean by that is that like even like when it comes to it, they geopolitically they would cooperate. They would do all kinds of shit
Oh
together.
yeah,
They would
yeah.
do all kinds of shit against Shias or Sunnis or whatever. Like they would kill their own brothers and sisters if they
Oh
had to.
yeah,
So,
definitely.
yeah, like
But
we're talking about a bunch of people like Jannati that were brought up once.
yeah,
He fucking celebrated his child's murder, and he was like he dreamt about it. He said, "If my child gets murdered, I'm gonna give Nazri, which is like free
yeah.
food to people out of celebration." Or like
Basically, I'm
like
gonna
like these
give.
people these people kill their children, their own children.
Oh yeah, don't like. Okay, the fact that in Iran a father can kill his daughter and have no legal repercussion
Yeah.
because technically he owns her. But I said all of that because I want you to be the voice of Iranians before we get to the last two, which are not criticizing the people who are not saying anything or people who are not supporting the revolution. It's kind of
Mm.
criticizing the revolution itself. The
Yeah.
number
Well, this being
seven,
critical of it or something.
uh, okay, when I say it, it will make more sense. Number seven is one that I've heard a lot, but it's from people who are actively involved with the revolution. It's that
Mhm.
LGBT plus people and feminists have ruined this movement
Oh
because
yeah.
they derived the conversation. They
Oh
derailed
yeah.
the conversation.
Oh yeah. Woman life freedom. It's
Yeah. For those
yeah.
of you who don't know, Woman Life Freedom is the main slogan of the movement. Like, it's the
Yeah,
thing
not
that started
feminist
the
at
whole thing.
all. Not
Oh, yeah, no, who says it's not a feminist?
yeah.
Feminists only want to get naked.
Yeah.
That was
Feminism,
sarcasm, by the way. Yeah.
goddamn feminism. I mean, it's such a ridiculous argument because this
Yeah.
revolution is meant to be for everyone and it's meant to be for equality. Like woman life freedom literally means woman, first of all, woman meaning to go against the gender apartheid. And
Yeah.
then there is life, which means letting people live, letting people to live happily, however they want. um, LGBTQ plus people, all kinds of sexual minorities, religious minorities, ethnic minorities. If you're
Yeah.
Afghan, if you're Baha'i, if you're Christian, if you're Jewish, if you're gay, lesbian, transgender, whatever, like this is for you. Like this has to be
Yeah.
for you. This has to be for equality and freedom, which is, of course, about democracy, is about having giving a voice to everyone. And this is the slogan. This is the main slogan. So if you say that you need to shut up, you are excluded from this, then you're no different from the Islamic Republic. Like,
Exactly.
what's the difference between you two? You
Okay,
need
the
to shut up.
reason
Like it's like they say, I'm not against LGBTQ plus people, but you need to shut up because some people are, and they might become like disinterested in the revolution if they see you.
exactly.
So
That's the point.
let
Like they
them
say
let
the
them be. Like
yeah,
you think there are like it's such a stupid argument that they think like it comes from I think a colonial thinking that Iranian people somehow or Middle Eastern people in general are somehow less progressive or less like they can't handle
capable
they
of
can't, yeah,
progressiveness.
they can't handle progressivism, which is stupid because Belgium wasn't as progressive as Iran a few years ago. And like I've talked to fucking people from Belgium, and they were like, "Wow, like your country was so advanced." And what happened?
I
it's
mean,
it's so funny. Like we used to treat our women as animals, but you didn't. So what happened in a few
yeah.
years?
But the thing is that this argument usually comes with a like sub argument that, oh, if a feminist uh, get naked for some reason, people like, we call them dudul tala in Persian,
Yeah,
which
golden
means
dicks, golden
not
dicks.
golden dicks,
What is it then?
golden dicklets,
Yeah, golden dicklets.
because dudul is not the same as dick.
Yeah.
But on okay, the thing is that like we call males we call incels that
Yeah.
and like they get angry over this stuff. They say if women get naked or if LGBT people voice their wants and their presence even,
Mm.
a huge number of religious and traditional classes in Iran won't support this revolution, and we need their support.
Yeah.
And my argument is that they need to learn that they're not the center of this revolution anymore. They
Yeah.
were at the center of this regime for the past 43 years. They are the reasons we have forced hijab. They are the reasons we have laws against LGBT people. They are the reasons we have as you said, gender apartheid.
Yeah.
They need
I mean,
to
it's
move.
it's it's such a scary thing because we have had the same issue with the previous revolution, the 1979 revolution.
Yeah,
A lot of exclusion, a lot of intense conflicts happened back then between the left wings, the leftists who were mostly communists or
yeah.
socialists, and also the mullahs, and also
The
liberals.
traditionalists.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
traditionalists and the mullah and the liberals in between. So there were like all these sort of conflicts, and there were these arguments made back then as well, like don't talk about like Marxists are going to be free after the revolution, they're going to have a voice and whatnot, but
Yeah.
now the focus is only on bringing down the Shah. But then after that happened, Marxists didn't really were able to say what they wanted to say. and they
They
were
were
all killed.
killed.
Yeah. If this argument is being made that like they don't even say LGBTQ plus people are going to be free after the revolution, they say that shut up, then we'll see what happens. Like
Yeah,
that's it. They don't even like at least the traditionalists back then promised like falsely promised freedom, promised that you would be safe at least.
yeah,
They don't even promise that. So yeah, it is scary. I don't like it.
yeah. It is their own homophobia, their own misogynism. And the sad thing is, as you said, they are the same as the mullahs, they are the same as Islamic Republic. They just don't have the power, and that's what's bugging them.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if you like, this is the one where I'm like, oh, if you say this, I don't care. I want the Islamic Republic gone. Like, I want them gone yesterday.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
I don't want to stand next to you if you think that like LGBT people should be silenced, women's rights should be silenced because we have economic wants as well. Yeah, we have
Yeah.
economic wants, we have economic needs, we have sort of religious needs, we have all of these needs, but all of them we have together. And LGBT rights, women's rights, equality doesn't, it's not a zero sum game, you
Yeah.
know. It's not
Yeah.
one, it's not binary. The binary thinking is the best thing that Islamic Republic could have
Yeah.
thrived with, and it has. And it's kind of sad to see how much of it has seeped into the generations.
Yep.
Like, oh no, no, it's either this or that. No, it can be this and that.
Yep.
And so that's the final one is one that, okay, we'll get a little bit both into both of us. Now, your situation is different than me. You're not in Iran.
Yeah.
I am in Iran. And just, okay, I'm gonna feel awful. What fucking. I don't go out of the house. So the eighth one is, if you're not on the street, you're not doing anything useful.
Hmm. I think um, so. I wouldn't encourage people to go on the streets if like they fear for their safety or if they have a condition, especially if they have a health condition or whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, but
I
I
mean,
think
the reason I don't go out is that I'm a very big guy, like
yeah.
physically.
Yeah,
I
you
will
can, I
be
don't think you can
identified.
run away from fucking
Yeah,
police. And also, you like even if you wear a fucking suit, you can be like if you wear a fucking like cover everything, you're still like people that still are able to identify you.
yeah. And if they shoot at me, they will hit me.
Yes,
Like,
that's true.
so,
But yeah, so I don't think you're not doing anything useful if you're not on the streets. Of course, the main drive, like the main thing that you can do, like the main thing thing that is happening, and it's about going on the streets.
yeah,
But I think that even if for whatever reason you can't, like you have health issues or
you're too
whatever,
fat, like
yeah,
me.
uh, so you have any problems, you can't go on the streets. It's like you can still contribute to the revolution. You
Yeah,
can go on a strike. You can like don't buy
exactly.
shit, don't fucking engage in the Islamic Republic's economy. Try to slow it down. Try to live in a revolutionary time. Don't live as if nothing is happening. Like that's the least you can do. So I don't think. So I think a lot of people who make that argument that if you're not on the streets, then you're not doing anything useful is the same type of people who don't want to do anything useful and use that argument to basically justify their own
In
bullshit.
action. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm completely with you. Again, yeah, I feel awful that I can't be on the street. I know I'm not useful on the street. Like,
yeah.
I'm
Like
more of an.
I have a friend who's a bit dumb, and like I was talking about this. I was saying that like do something. Like if you like, I'm a judgmental person. I judge people, right? And if
Yeah,
you are not contributing in some ways, like whatever, you have a platform, use it. You make podcasts, use it to make podcasts about this.
yeah,
I don't want you to necessarily go on the streets, but at least use, like, contribute to it as little as you can. And she was like, "Don't judge people. Like, you yourself are not on the streets." And I'm like, brother, I'm miles away. What do you want me to do? Go on, like, how do you want me to go on the streets? I'm
yeah,
contributing as much as I can, and you need to contribute as much as you can. Just because you are like inactive, just because you don't care, basically, doesn't mean that everyone else has to be has to act the same way. Like you need to contribute. I don't accept the argument that um, if you're not on the streets, you're basically doing nothing, because it's a very dangerous line of thinking that
mm.
essentially, if you're not on the streets, you need to live your life the way it was before.
I'm completely in agreement with you. The thing that it kind of reminds me of, and I kind of don't want to, but I've been thinking about it a lot, as you might have guessed, is that when the Iran Iraq war was happening, there was a very famous thing that if you're not on the front lines, you're not doing anything.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
just
sort of, it was
mm,
like go and get killed,
yeah,
basically. It's what we call Shahid Parva, or
yeah.
and I don't believe that. I feel like I'm again, yeah.
Like there is
If I
this,
go out, I
you know
will
what?
not
There
be.
is this sort of them us mentality. Like I've been in a bunch of groups, and I have another friend who's not very bright, and she was saying that them, like they're, why don't they, meaning the people on the streets, revolutionaries, why don't they do this, why don't they do that? Like, fucker, you're in Iran and you are young and you are like part of this. What's up with this them us thing? If you're too afraid, if you're a fucking coward, then do something for them. Like help them in some other way. Give them food. Give
Yeah,
them something. I don't know. Give them water. Fucking. It just blows my mind that like this sort of them us mentality, that if you're not fighting on the front line, then you can do nothing. You can be inactive as much as you want. You don't have to contribute, because the real thing only happens on the streets.
exactly. Again, I've as I said, I would have been on the street if I could, but the fact that I'm not doesn't mean that I don't care and I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, exactly. The thing is that like it's just so ridiculous, man. Like
Yeah,
they are. Why don't they do this? Why don't, like, we are all us. There
yeah.
is no difference.
The good thing that this whole movement has showed is that us them mentality is a very, very Islamic Republic way of thinking. Again,
Yeah,
Islamic Republic, much like any other totalitarian and authoritarian government in the world, works in binaries,
yeah,
and which is why, to make a joke, which is why non-binary people and LGBTQ people are the bane of their existence because they
yeah,
can't fit them in a binary.
yeah. That was a good
But
one.
yeah, they work in binary, so it's like, oh no, it's
Yeah,
us versus them. It's like if you listen to the supreme leader, the furor of Iran
Yeah.
uh, is that it's always us, meaning Iranian people versus them. Who is them? To It's a 1984 esque enemy. It's
Mhm.
just them.
Yeah.
Who knows who they are? What is their agenda? It's just they have one singular goal, and that is to destroy Iran.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in short, again, I wanted to keep those last two because I think those two were more. It's for people who already support the revolution but need to have a little bit of push or just self
Mhm.
reflection.
Mhm.
But um, I am hopeful. I'm not gonna lie. for the
Yeah.
first time, for the first time in like 15 years, I'm hopeful.
Yeah. I'm hopeful as well. Very hopeful.
And hopefully this will be like we will look back at this episode and say, God, look at that.
Yeah.
how how that was led, like, I'm not lead to, but we look at this with some sort of fond memory. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, remember back then, instead
Yeah.
of oh, remember back then.
Remember back then we had such hopes and we even like overpassed them. Right.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
hopefully. Um so with
We're
that
so
said,
far ahead. We have achieved so much.
yeah, I mean the fact that um I mean, at the like the very least,
Mhm.
you now know uh, the people around you. You know
Yeah.
their lines. You know what
And
lines
like the
people.
thing is that like this movement, as you put it,
Yeah,
is really something historical because even if it's not a successful revolution, and hopefully it is, and it seems like it's going to be because it's been at least a month, right? Around a
in
month.
3 days it will be a month.
Yeah, around a month. That it's like a month of continuous struggle.
Yeah,
It's insane, and I think it's gonna be successful. But even if it's not, it's still a historical movement because nothing will be the same after this. Like
yeah,
I do not think, and I highly doubt it if women are going to dress the same way after this. If people are going to like pass the morality police the same way after this. I
yeah.
don't think so. Like nothing is going to be the same way after this.
We
And
we
and
move
this is
past
and this is
the
at least
yeah.
either this is the end of the Islamic Republic or at least this is the start to the end of the Islamic Republic.
Oh yeah, yeah. There is this famous tweet that if it's not the last episode, it's the last season.
Yeah,
And like I'm completely with you. We passed the point of no return. Like there is no return.
yeah,
And at the very least, as I said, you now have a very like the savagery that the Islamic Republic has shown. Like there has always been an excuse for people
mhm,
who were loyalists that you wanted
yeah,
to keep for some reason. Like when they killed Neda Agha Sultan during the Green Movement, it was like, oh, she was protesting. It was like anti-riot stuff. When they shot down the plane, it was like, oh, it was a
yeah,
mistake. Even though they shot two fucking rockets at it, it was not a mistake. But right now, they literally beat a 22-year-old girl to death. They
mhm,
raped a 16-year-old and mutilated her body. They killed a fucking 16-year-old vlogger.
mhm.
They killed a guy in San Andreas for honking his horn. If you're
God,
still in any way affiliated with Islamic Republic,
I mean, even Hezbollah is not supporting them anymore.
Yeah. I mean, when
Fucking
Taliban says, "Oh, you're
Hezbollah.
doing this wrong,"
Yeah.
y- fuck. But I'm just saying that, like, this is, as you said, the most.
The moment that you're so ostracized that like your closest friends betray you, and they're like,
Yeah,
they bring like everyone in the class are hating on you, and you expect your friends to stand up for you, but instead they also start to hate on you. You realize that like this is the end, man. This is
yeah.
like you're not gonna go back to normal
I
anymore.
I hate this word, but this is too good of a comment not to make. I think Islamic Republic is being cancelled.
Yeah, in a way, it's been
Yeah,
cancelled by Taliban. So
yeah, by Taliban and Hezbollah. Like, at this point, all of it remains is for ISIS to make a statement saying, "Yeah, we don't condone the actions of the Islamic Republic."
yeah, it's like we have a saying in Iran. It's called اونی که به ما نریده بود کلاغ کم نریده بود.
Yeah, which means the thing that hadn't shit on us was a crow with digestive problems.
Yes.
But yeah, I am hopeful.
Yeah.
So with that, as I said before, please follow the news in Iran. Sadly, there isn't a lot of official sources that you can follow. I can tell you to go and follow this because, as I said, they restricted access to internet in Iran. We don't have any independent journalists who are not in prison, and
And most Western journalists suck. Sorry.
oh yeah, yeah, no, you're right. I mean, they don't. I mean, I
Except
do
for me.
understand. The
Sorry.
thing about them, no, no, no. The thing about them is that I do understand that, like, they don't have access to information. So the ones we have are mostly unofficial news sources. There is 500 plus Tasvir is the only one I kind of
And
semi
you know what?
trust because
Like this is so ridiculous. Like the way that Western publications and news sources work. I was writing a piece for Washington Post, sorry, The Economist, and they said that they're not going to publish my work because I have visited Tehran like in summer, so therefore they're
huh?
not going to publish my work, like because I
Oh
recently visited
Jesus.
Iran, and I was like so basically you only want news on news from people who have no idea what they're talking about, right?
Yeah. We didn't even get to the sanctions. I'm not gonna open that can of worms, but
That's a big one. That's not.
yeah, we need to discuss that at a later date.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I there is no official news source for me to tell you to follow, but do follow what is happening in Iran. And remember, if no news is coming out of Iran, they are killing people. That's the, like, general rule.
Yeah. Very right.
Do you have any final recommendations or final words?
Um, Not really.
Yeah.
I've written an article about this. I'm gonna give it to you, and if you want,
Oh,
when you're publishing this, when you're
okay. I
releasing
will.
this, you
I will
can.
put it in the description. You
Yeah,
don't mind?
it's about what does woman life freedom mean,
Okay, okay.
especially in the perspective of from like a LGBTQ plus perspective.
That is fantastic. So there will be a link to that in the description. I mean, you're okay with your name being, like, I'm
Yeah,
kind of paranoid about this shit, even though, oh fuck, the name of if you go in the podcast channel, it has my full name on it.
I'm not paranoid. I mean, I'm not in Iran right now,
Yeah,
but
I am. So
hopefully, the time when I come back, um, we won't have any issues. We
yeah,
will be in a democracy, so hopefully,
that's the thing I'm hoping for too. Like as I said, this is the point of no return.
yeah.
I'm not gonna be
Because if it's not successful, like if in a very unlikely scenario that these series of movements are not successful, then I'm not sure if I ever I'm going to come back to Iran. I don't know.
I'm not sure if I'm gonna be alive.
Yeah, things are
So
fucking insane.
yeah.
Because like Iran is now a police state basically.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the
So with
only and
that,
the only and the sorry to
no,
interrupt,
no,
but
no, go ahead.
and the only way I see the Islamic Republic like a stay in power is to stay like keep Iran a police state, like in a very unlikely scenario. So there's no way people like me can come back.
Yeah, and to be honest, the thing is that with each, as they say, with each new atrocity that they commit, they just convince more people to join the movement.
Yeah,
So, in other words, they've sat on a fucking saw, and no matter what they do, they're gonna get cut in half.
yeah.
So, with that said, hopefully this won't be the last episode I ever make.
No,
Eh, I mean, if that happens, it's fucking worth it. Don't let people forget about me. Don't you? Da dun da dun dun. Forget about me.
I mean the
Don't
three
don't.
people who are listening, please
Yeah,
don't send it to the government officials.
yeah. Anyways, thank you,
I
Kamya,
mean,
for
I mean, the thing is that like you never know. Like you think that they only get like arrest notable people, no, quote unquote
yeah,
notable
yeah,
people, but like very random people, like someone who without any followers, like wrote something somewhere, they're going to get arrested. So it's like
dude.
it's
They
very
killed
random.
someone for honking a horn. The
Yeah.
bar is
It's
very
very
low.
random. Like if
Yeah,
someone sees that you have written or said something somewhere, even if you're not notable, you don't have any popularity. Like, do you remember the two LGBTQ plus writers or content creators or whatever they got executed? Like they I haven't heard like I hadn't heard of them. I
yeah.
don't like I couldn't find anything that they have said online or wherever, like but they
They were
still
activists.
yeah
They
they
were
were
like
like very small activists. So
they're in jail now.
yeah, so if like very small activists, very small if you in terms of popularity, if you are not very well known, you still might
Yeah,
there is a chance of this that you might get, especially now that you would be arrested.
yeah. So if I get arrested, this falls on your
No, don't get
shoulder,
arrested.
Kamyab.
But Ali is
Um,
not going to get arrested.
hopefully, but if I do, it's on your shoulders to
Continue
don't
to
let people
take the
forget about me.
torch to continue
Okay.
to give him
Thank you
the
for being on this episode, by the way. This has gone long enough, and hopefully, uh, you now know why you should. There is no excuse for you to not support
yeah.
the revolution.
Don't fucking buy from food. What's it called? Food snap.
Mihan,
Mihan. Don't buy
don't
from Mihan.
don't buy from
Uber
Snap
Eats.
either.
Yeah, whatever it's called.
Oh no, no, the
YouTuber.
Uber Eats thing is a Snap food.
Hmm. Oh, Snap
Yeah.
Food. Don't buy from Snap Food or
Don't buy
whatever.
from
Or
Mihan either.
Mihan.
Don't buy from Del Pazzi either. And if you're a university student, just um, what do you say? Grip the throat
Don't
of your
respect.
professors and don't let go.
Go like either don't go to the class, or when you're going, like get with your friends and make a scene together
Yeah.
and have wonderful times. You can
So
like
with that said,
like the best teacher is the streets. I'm not encouraging people to go on the streets, but all I'm saying is that the best teacher you can find is on the streets. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, the best teachers you can find are in fucking jail.
I mean that's true, but
Yeah.
but I mean,
Anyways,
they're very harsh teachers, especially in Iranian jails. They're very harsh teachers, so you might not survive.
oh no, no, I didn't mean that. I meant that literally they arrested all of the good professors.
That's true.
Okay. With that said, I'll bid you adieu and thank you again, Kamyab, for being on this episode.
My pleasure.